for bond comments by the Slide. Slide for bond, they say. I believe they are making fun of me. I simply don't see him pursuing Lil Durk because of this. Let me explain his remaining options and the reasons the bond was rejected this time. We'd like to start with some breaking news. As that trial draws nearer, rapper Lil Durk, an old block rapper, feels as though his entire universe is crumbling and his mind is hanging by a thread. Since his incarceration, things have been striking him from all sides, and the circumstances within those walls are destroying him in ways that the outside world is completely unaware of. The reality about what's actually happening to Lil Durk behind prison is far more bizarre than anyone could have predicted, so stay tuned to the very conclusion of this film. The details emerging from that prison are upending the entire rap game, so you shouldn't blink on this one. The entire business was shaken by Lil Durk's arrest. Not just the fans. When word spread that he had been apprehended close to Miami International Airport, many were astounded. He allegedly scheduled many international flights to elude them and flee before they could close in on him, according to law authorities who had been monitoring his movements. On the 17th of October 2020, they finally intervened and placed him in federal custody. Since then, the pressure hasn't decreased. Immediately following the arrest, a federal magistrate judge ordered him to remain detained without bond until he could be transported to Los Angeles for arraignment. The feds were taking this case very seriously, as seen by that decision alone, which had the streets humming. Neither Lil. Everyone is keeping a careful eye on Durk and the 5 other defendants because they have refused to accept any plea agreements. Now, all 6 of them are scheduled to be arraigned in downtown Los Angeles. Additionally, the stress around this situation is increasing every minute. Now that the lawsuit has moved directly into the state's district court, things are rapidly getting heated. A superseding charge dating back to 2010 was dropped by the prosecution, which claimed Lil Durk founded an organization known as Only the Family, or FF. They claimed that although it began as a legitimate music movement, there was covert activity occurring behind the scenes, all related to the Chicago-raised rapper. According to court documents, the group was involved in violent incidents involving fatal force and significant injury. Additionally, prosecutors maintain that the rapper gave the order for these actions. They are attempting to portray it as though Durk was making decisions at the top and advancing the entire endeavor. The indictment claims that Durk's serious problems with someone named TB Kondo Rondo caused the tension to blow up. According to reports, that conflict began in November 2020 when King, Durk's close buddy, was killed by a TB associate, Vaughn. Prosecutors said that Durk was prepared to do whatever to deal with the situation and make sure his adversary felt the pressure after losing someone so close. On the 19th of August 2022, things took a different turn. According to the records, when members and associates devised a strategy to shut down TB entirely, they reportedly followed him, stalked him, and set up a move that prosecutors are characterizing as a murder attempt using 2 automobiles. The idea was audacious and dangerous, and things quickly got out of hand. The streets were severely affected when, at a petrol station close to the Beverly Center shopping center, gunfire broke out. The group of people who are currently co-defendants with Lil Durk are accused of pulling out several firearms, including a machine gun, and firing about 18 shots at Kondo's car. In a matter of seconds, the commotion, the terror, and the cacophony all exploded. However, when Kondo's cousin, who was riding with him at the time, was struck by one of the bullets, the plan fell apart. The entire incident, according to the prosecution, demonstrates how hurried, careless, and reckless everything was. According to their findings, Lil Durk personally ordered the Kondo's removal, and the individuals he brought in ultimately turned the entire circumstance into a total catastrophe. Because the money for this entire scheme allegedly came from bank accounts and government funding, Lil Durk ultimately put himself in even more risk, making the trail easier for investigators to trace. Later, flight and bank records revealed that a member who was close to Durk assisted in setting everything up and even gave money to 5 suspected accomplices so they could travel from Chicago to California the day before the attempted hit. When detectives discovered what transpired around the time the one-way trips were purchased, things became more complicated. As stated in the documents, don't book any flights under any names involved with Sick Me. The Chicago-born rapper allegedly instructed the F associate in charge of the trip. The mere whiff of covert preparation and care in that message pushed prosecutors into overdrive, and they further strengthened their case by using that. As the party traveled from Chicago to California, the plan continued to advance. A arranging everything as though they were getting ready for a significant mission. Durk also traveled to California that same day, although he did so in a private plane with another suspected hitman known in the documents as VNI. According to the prosecution, this gave the case an additional level of complexity and made it appear even more coordinated and deliberate. However, the careless errors didn't end there. Later that day, one of the 5 defendants allegedly went shopping and purchased a ski mask that was intended to be used in the hit, The Wild portion. He made the payment using a credit card registered in Lil Durk's name, according to the prosecution. Because it directly linked him to financial evidence, that one action made the entire case worse. The prosecution hasn't slowed down at all. They've been examining every aspect and advocating for the harshest punishments for Durk and the other parties. The lead prosecutor used a clear and severe tone in one of his remarks. The prosecution stated, "Mr. Banks, Lil Durk is charged with orchestrating a cold-blooded murder that resulted in the death of a rival's family member, indicating that they were developing a strong case." Martin Estrada, the United States attorney, gave it even more weight by claiming that innocent people were at risk because the shooting took place in the open at a petrol station situated on a busy junction. He referred to it as a violent act that caused harm to the community and made it clear that anyone engaging in such severe behavior would not be tolerated at all by his office. The assistant director in charge of the FBI's Los Angeles field office, Aquil Davis, didn't hold back when discussing the case. "No excuse can justify this violent act," he stated, making it abundantly evident that nothing can excuse what transpired, and he cautioned anyone who believed they got away with it. He said, "While you're going about your life thinking you got away with it, the FBI is piecing together the facts that will serve as your undoing." People realized the feds weren't playing at all after hearing that comment alone. Dominic Choi, the chief of police in Los Angeles, also came out and described how several agencies collaborated to find the victim's family and provide them with some justice. He claims that this arrest is the result of our partners in the FBI, the LAPD's Operation West Bureau homicide investigators, and the U.S. Attorney's Office working together. Additionally, they found that Durk Daka, also known as Lil Durk, was complicit in this horrible crime. Observing that from the SLAF, the LAPD chief increased the case's pressure even further. As prosecutors continue their investigation and present fresh evidence in court, Lil Durk is now facing further felony counts. What was once a serious matter has evolved into something even more risky from a legal standpoint. One count of using interstate facilities to commit murder for hire that resulted in death. One count of conspiracy. One count involving the use, carrying, and discharge of firearms, including a machine gun, and another count relating to the possession of violent firearms connected to a crime that resulted in death are among his amended charges. The 32-year-old rapper, who was raised in Chicago, was first accused of these things in a criminal complaint, but things have since gotten worse. The stakes have increased with the addition of 2 more criminal counts. Building on the original indictment filed on October 17th, the revised 4-count indictment names Lil Durk as the primary defendant. Prosecutors are handling this as if it were one of their largest cases in years. Lil Durk was not the only target of the 2024 indictment. It also listed 5 additional defendants connected to the August 2022 shooting death of Wando Rondo's cousin. Prosecutors outlined each name in detail, beginning with Kavon London Grant, 28, who goes by cousin in VNI on the streets of Atlanta. Then there's 33-year-old Chicago resident DeAndre Dantrell Wilson, also known as DD, and 33-year-old Addison, Illinois, resident David Brian Lindsay, also known as Brown Eyes. Keith Jones, popularly known as Flacca, is a 33-year-old from Gary, Indiana. Lastly, 36-year-old Houston resident Asa, also referred to as Boogie from Chicago on the South Side. DD, VNI, and Brown Eyes are presently detained at the Winnebago County Jail in Illinois, awaiting transportation to Los Angeles for federal custody, while Lil Durk is in federal custody in Miami. Court. Boogie and Flacca are being incarcerated in Chicago's Metropolitan Correctional Center while the judicial proceedings continue. Now, this is the major query that the streets are always posing. What is actually going on within Lil Durk? In the event that he loses in court, people close to him are praying that he will be able to remain composed until the trial and be resilient enough to deal with whatever punishment that may be imposed. Insiders claim that the rapper isn't exactly surrounded by pals, which is why there is genuine tension around him. Fans have been chatting non-stop. thinking that Durk may be in more trouble because someone supposedly switched on him, which is what initially put him in jail. Since being apprehended at the Miami airport while attempting to board a flight to Italy, the Grammy-winning rapper has hardly spoken. His team has also remained mute. The whole situation became much more stressful after that unsuccessful escape attempt. Furthermore, there are unverified rumors circulating that Lil Durk might be interacting with individuals connected to Quando Rondo while incarcerated. If so, his time behind